Okay, hi, this is Martin Compton. I'm going to talk you through the whole process of using Quizlet for teaching and learning, review, engagement, assessment, and in particular for embedding literacy and supporting literacy, particularly of the key terms, but more generally than that. So Quizlet is an online tool. It's pretty well established, works nicely with Moodle or blogs, hooks into Google Docs really sweetly, actually. And it's about creating sets of flashcards which can then be used in different ways, such as for games, a drag and drop game, and for learning that key terminology or for identifying jargon, key terms on any kind of course. So if I go to Quizlet.com, I don't know why it says goodbye there. I go to Quizlet.com, this is what I see. And you can see I can sign up with Google, which means if I'm logged into my Google account, I can just click on that, and then one click, I've got a Quizlet account. I don't need to save any more passwords or anything like that. So I've already created one, and I'm just going to go to the relevant Google account, and here I am, and here's some of the things that I've been playing with in here. So let me give you an example of what it looks like. I can search other teachers' resources first, and that should always be your first port of call, really. So I've got some history things down, music technology, as you can see here, the plumbing one that I'm going to show you in a minute, something on biology, something on cooking verbs. So you already get the sense that there are different levels available in this. So if I just try something pretty straightforward, like let's try hairdressing and see what's available. See, I've got a whole bunch of sets, 266 of them that come up here. And some of them only have 5 terms in. Remember, these are other people's sets of things. So some of them are simply translations from foreign languages. Here we go. That's French. Not sure I like that one. So see, as it's all popping up here, I've got different terms that are cropping up, and I can just filter those terms and find things that are relevant. I don't want any of these international ones, the translations, though you may find that's useful. Oh, that looks quite interesting. And someone's even used pictures in this one. So I'm going to click on that, and it takes me to a set. And what you'll notice is that I can go into each one and see how it looks. I can change the order to alphabetical. And this is a nice little set here. And what I can do is look at each of the different types of that same resource. So flashcards, if I click on it, it plays it, and then I click to flip. Now in this case, when you've got images rather than a definition, it would actually make sense to start with the photos if I were to use it as a presentation, and then scroll through those and ask the students, what is it that you're looking at before I flip? And then it goes on to that. What am I looking at? Clipper or clippers. So you'll notice that the automatic voice has an American accent. Some people don't like it, not because it's an American accent, but because it doesn't tune in with the ways and norms of speech that their students are familiar with. It is a limitation on the free account. You can record your own audio if you pay, but I'm not advising anybody to pay for anything unless we really like it as a department. Then perhaps we could purchase departmental subscriptions. It's not actually that expensive, but I think in the first instance, you don't need to do that. So those are the flashcards. You can also send a link to the students so they can practice. See that there? If I put that on my scheme of work in Moodle, share it via email, the student will click on that and they will see what you're seeing now on this screen. So they have to type in what they think this thing is, and they click answer. Now I've said hairdryer. The correct answer supposedly is blow dryer. If I think actually that was right, I might ask my teacher. I can add that to the list of terms. So it's a way of practicing. To focus on not the meaning so much, but on the spelling, I use the speller. So I start with a difficult one. Hair straightener. I type the answer. If I get it incorrect, it shows me.
Straightener. Hair straightener.
And now I have to do it again. I would dispute that it's one word, though I may be corrected. So that's something that needs editing, actually. And that's why I always prefer to create my own sets ultimately, or copy and amend existing sets, which you can also do. But just to show you a couple of other things, you've got the test. So I can have written questions, matching questions, multiple choice. Let's say I just want a let's say a matching task. I select that, create a new test, and there you go. I have a self-marking matching test. And also I can have a printed version of that if I don't have access to a computer room, and I can reconfigure that in many different ways. It's fantastic. It's really excellent tool. I've got a scatter game which works nicely on an interactive whiteboard if you're lucky to have one. Drag and drop, make things disappear, or equally on a screen. And a race game that where the pictures come along and the student has to type the responses to make them disappear. So that's pretty much what it does. And let's say I've found a good set of tools. I like them, but I want to edit a couple of things because they're not quite right for the British market or the London emphases or the local setting or the course that I'm running or the level. What I can do is I can just copy that set to my area, and then I can edit these things and anglicize them, correct spellings, make corrections, remove certain ones. And see here, I could record my own audio if I upgraded. I could include my own pictures if I upgraded, but I can actually search from the images that are built into the system. So that's pretty much it. So once I've done that, I've edited it, I click finish, and that's now one of my sets that I can use and share with other people. What if I wanted to create a set from scratch? Well, let's go back to the home page here and see I can create folders and all sorts of other things, but there's a link at the top here that enables me to create a set. So I'm going to create something very quickly now on West London, which, even though I've been working here for 3 years, it's still like alien territory for me. So let's see. I'm going to type a term in there and then a definition in here. Large car supposedly favoured by wealthy West London residents. So I need to take my time, make sure I don't make any mistakes, and that kind of thing. And as I go down, term, definition, term, definition, term, definition, minimum of 5 to create the set. I'm going to choose English as my language, and it will error correct for me as I type. And there you go. That's how I create a set. So it's actually, really, really fantastic what you can do with it. I'm going to abandon that one though, because you don't want to see me do a whole set. Let's go to another set here. Here's one on the Holocaust for a history class. What if I want to print this to do a printable sharing exercise? Well, this is absolutely fantastic thing that you can do. If you click print, notice there the terms that you can print out. But look what I can do here. I can create a table, a glossary, a cuttable matching exercise, or an even larger cuttable matching exercise, or I can even print index cards for revision, so the students could do those. So there's a lot of ways that you can use this both online and offline. And the most important thing, I suppose, is getting the link to that resource. So if, for example, I want my students to go to a test that I've defined a multiple choice test on the Holocaust. I'm going to create that test, and it generates a unique link that they can copy and go into. There are even more levels to this, such as creating classes, tracking scores, all that kind of thing. But I think probably that is enough for now. You see the check answer thing at the bottom. Students really enjoy doing these. They can add a really nice layer, whole class at the beginning of a session, mid-session to review, consolidate, end of a session to revise, to make a summative form of assessment, getting students to create resources as well for one another, to practice, to differentiate, particularly that spelling activity there, which I think is really, really powerful tool. As you can see, it gives me those fine-tuned details, the way that I can learn from it, all sorts of stuff. And the only thing that I pay in terms of the free account is that I have advertising on my page. So it's a really effective, really useful tool. Just to reiterate, if you want to create an account, use your Google account. It might be a personal one, it might be a work one, probably easier if it's just your work one. And then you can search for resources, edit and copy those resources if they've been opened up in that way. You can create your own resources, and then you can use them in multiple ways. If I want to use these plumbing resources and I want to get my students to just use the flashcards to revise, there you go. Boom, copy that, put that in a place where the students can access it. The other thing to remember as well is if I'm using Moodle, if I click on more here, I've got what's called an embed code. So that will enable me to make these tests appear within the Moodle page rather than an external link. Same applies to blogs if you use those as well. So I hope you found that useful. I know I've been quite deliberate and slow and repetitive. I hope that on the basis of that, you're able to go to Quizlet and create some really effective resources. The next step, of course, is to share these amongst your colleagues, because you don't all want to be creating the same thing. If you work in, for example, the plumbing department, you don't all want to be creating an identical resource. You want to be creating different bits for different parts of the broader curriculum at different levels, and then share those, pool those in a central area. And before long, you'll find that you've got some really exciting, engaging resources that have those multiple functions of dual skilling in terms of technology use, of enabling students to support their own literacy development, and thereby enabling you to differentiate more effectively in terms of literacy development, and for students to do practice exercises where they test themselves against themselves in the games or various other activities. So it's well worth using this regularly and frequently. It's definitely one of the best out there. Okay, thank you for listening.